Welcome to PNG Trends Burner. The Paraka saga continues to unfold in Papua New Guinea, with Prime Minister James Marape taking centre stage in the high-profile trial of Jacob Yafai, the former Deputy Secretary of the Finance Department. If you've been following the Paraka case, check out the playlist in the description for a detailed insight into the saga. This update unpacks the testimony of the Prime Minister and poses a series of questions that will make your head spin. You don't want to miss this. Let's dive in. Prime Minister James Marape testifies. Prime Minister James Marape testified in court on March 24, 2025, denying allegations that he pressured officials to authorize payments to Paul Paraka lawyers during his tenure as Finance Minister under then Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. He emphasized issuing clear directives to halt payments, citing a memo from October 31st, 2012, and a series of verbal instructions. But here's the big question. Why did the Finance Department create a trust account? And why were payments totaling 41.8 million kina made in November and December 2012, and again in March and May 2013, with no one querying the payments? MARAPE, Peruse, Verify and Settle. Let's rewind to October 5, 2012. The now Prime Minister James Marape's handwritten note on Paraka's letter dated September 20, 2012 instructed Finance Department officials, including Jacob Yafai and the late Stephen Gibson, to peruse, verify and settle. This handwritten note, signed JM by James Marape, was written on Paraka lawyer's letterhead to the Finance Department. Interestingly, Paraka's letter, dated September 20, 2012, was copied to both then Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and then Finance Minister James Marape. The Finance Minister's office received it on October 4, 2012, and acted on it the very next day, a remarkably swift turnaround. The note directed officials to verify clearance from Marape and O'Neill, confirm the trust fund's setup, and settle Paraka's claims when funds were available. Despite Marape's later memo on October 31, 2012, instructing officials to halt payments, 41.8 million kina was disbursed out of a trust account in 4 installments over 6 months. From the Finance Department's payment verification checks, why didn't Yafai and the late Gibson act on the Stop Payment Directive to halt payments? Are funds from trust accounts not subject to strong verification and signatory processes? And, as the head of the Finance Department, had Marape acted swiftly on his stop payment memos, would the Paraka payments have taken place? Jacob Yafai's role. Jacob Yafai, the former acting secretary of the Finance Department, is facing serious charges in court, including official corruption, abuse of office, conspiracy to defraud, and misappropriation. These charges stem from allegations that he facilitated unauthorized payments to Paul Paraka lawyers totaling 41.8 million kina were made between November 2012 and May 2013. Yafai is accused of facilitating unauthorized payments to Paul Paraka lawyers. Yafai claims he acted under instructions from higher authorities, including Marape and then Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. The trust account created for these payments raises further questions. Who were the signatories? Could such large sums have been disbursed without political authorization? And why didn't Marape and O'Neill act swiftly to stop the payments after the first installment of 14 million kina was made on November 1, 2012? Following the first payment, 3 other payments were made, totaling 41.8 million kina. On May 3, 2013, the Finance Department released 8 million kina to Paul Paraka. These payments resulted in the sacking of Jacob Yafai as the acting secretary of the Finance Department. And then, on May 16, 2023, Yafai provided a brief of his role in the payments and his involvement in the Paraka fraudulent activities. Former Attorney General Kerenga, a key witness, testified that Marape exerted immense pressure on Finance Department staff to process the payments. Kwa described the payments as part of a massive scam, bypassing the proper vetting process through the Attorney General's office.
It's important to Yafai. If he is innocent, the court will say so. And that will clear a huge burden off his shoulder. He can live his life as a normal person. But if on the other hand, he's found to be culpable, then of course the judges will say something about accountability from him, and that will relieve Papua New Guineans at large. They will see that the rule of law is still alive in this country.
Yafai's defense. The Waigani National Court has heard testimonies from several key witnesses. Prime Minister Marape maintained that he issued written and verbal instructions to halt payments, but under cross-examination he acknowledged that payments totaling 41.8 million kina were made despite his directives. He evaded questions relating to the setting up of the trust account, stating that it did not matter as payments were made to Paraka. Former Attorney General Kerenga described the payments as a scam and alleged that Marape pressured Finance Department staff. Former Solicitor General Neville DeVete, testifying via video link, revealed that the payments violated Supreme Court orders and a National Executive Council decision. Jacob Yafai's defense hinges on the chain of command, arguing that he acted under instructions from Marape and O'Neill. One thing stands out: the money from the trust account requires verification before settlement. So who are the trustees that verified the settlement of the 4 payments between 2012 and 2013? That is now up to the courts to cross-examine all the evidence and witnesses available to them. As the trial continues, the court's deliberations are expected to shed light on the extent of responsibility and the implications for Papua New Guinea's public servants and political heads of public service machinery. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below.